Hello, welcome to 3 Philosophies, 1 Game. I'm Harry Hennings, and this is about Ange Postecoglou. This is episode 2. There's certain kind of managers who follow the game, but then there's ones like Ange who bend it to their will. Ange Postecoglou doesn't just coach football teams. He doesn't just manage teams, he rewires them. He builds a new legacy. From the outside, it can look reckless. It can seem crazy. High lines, hardly any defending going on, all-out attack, inverted fullbacks. But that's just Ange, and that always will be Ange. But look closer, and there's something so much more than that. It's a belief that almost borders defiance. It's stubborn, but it's Ange's belief, and it's Ange's philosophy. It's just who we are, mate. He's been doubted at every level. He's unknown. He only did it in the Asia League, he only did it in the Australian League, but he did it in Europe with Tottenham Hotspur in Bilbao. And yet, everywhere he's gone, he's won something. As he said himself, I always win things in my second season. This isn't just a story of a man chasing trophies. It's a story of a man who built his own philosophy, who has structured himself, and who has tailored great things to clubs like Celtic, like Tottenham Hotspur, and many others in between. It's almost a story of a man who refuses to adapt to the press, to critics, because he believes that his way is the best way, the right way, the only way. And as a Spurs fan myself, it worked wonders for us, and it gave us that night in Bilbao that we only ever dreamed of. Born in 1965, Melbourne, Australia, Postecoglou wasn't brought onto the big stages of world football, but more so in the overlooked world of Australian football. From the A-League to international tournaments, his rise to fame, his great legacy has been built on conviction and belief from day one. Ask Ange what he wants from his team, and he'll give you the same answer. He just wants his team to press and to attack. So, like Bordalas, like we explained yesterday, there are 3 core principles to Ange Postecoglou. The first one is high press, or some may say high intensity pressing. The intensity never drops. The standards must remain. If you play for Postecoglou, you have to run. You have to give 101% off the ball and on the ball. There's no in between with this. His teams don't wait, they hunt. They won't sit back, they'll step up. This is the absolute opposite of Bordalas. They will be the absolute opposite in the way they go out there. Their approach is completely different to the Spanish nature of Bordalas and Getafe. The moment possession is lost, his men swarm the ball, suffocate the opposition, close down tight spaces, and create hell on the pitch. This is where Bordalas and Postecoglou do have similarities, in that they enjoy the chaos, they enjoy the rhythm on the pitch, but in such weird and contrasting ways at the same time. Bordalas, sit back, low block, defensive. Ange Postecoglou, what is defence? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to attack. The second part of the philosophy is fluid, attacking football. The right positions give way for movement, for channels to open up and lanes to be opened up for wingers to get the ball under control before finding the cross, before building up quickly to the attackers. Fullbacks invert, midfielders push forward, wingers stay high. Wingers stay very, very high. So what's the goal? Well, to create chaos for defenders, to confuse the opposition managers, to create something that's never been seen before. This level of intensity is something that was brand new to the Premier League, and why in the first 10 games at Tottenham Hotspur, they were unbeaten. No one could figure out how to stop Postecoglou until the Chelsea game occurred. And unfortunately, we all know the story there. 2 red cards, 2 key players injured, and a 4-1 home defeat. The players were clapped off at the end. 9 men Tottenham Hotspur did lose 4-1 to Chelsea on the night, but they led 1-0, had a second disallowed, and then from then on, 2 red cards, 2 injuries, and a bit of ill discipline from Romero and Udogie gave it away for Tottenham that evening. But Postecoglou said he couldn't be proud of the performance. It took Chelsea until very late in the game to take the game under control. Spurs still threatened. Eric Dyer had a stunning volley ruled out for offside, marginally offside. That game could have gone either way in the end, but it was a night for Tottenham fans where they almost saw more belief instilled by Postecoglou. But for all the good things of Postecoglou's style of play, there's always flaws and there are always negatives to any positive. So this approach does come at a cost. High pressing leaves space behind. It leaves gaps. It leaves a very, very vulnerable high line, which at Tottenham Hotspur we did see this. We did see this very often, and it caused injuries. Take Mickey van der Ven, for example. One of the world's quickest centre-backs, one of the world's quickest defenders, one of the best in the world for recovery runs. But he paid the price, and his hamstrings were sacrificed for this high line that Postecoglou deployed. In fact, we never saw injuries like it at Tottenham Hotspur. Ange Postecoglou's style of play was fantastic, and it was entertaining, but it marred the squad. Players were out for weeks and months with injuries. James Maddison missed 4 months. Van der Ven missed 4 months with a hamstring injury, but it was reoccurring. A year later, Van de Ven played against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. Spurs won 2-1 on the night, but it was marred by the loss of Mickey Van de Ven. While sprinting for a ball against Savinho, as soon as a hand went to the back of his leg, the Spurs fans knew. They feared the worst, and they were correct. It was another hamstring pull for the Dutchman. Critics argue whether his system is too naive, too bold, not structurally right for the Premier League. But Ange, well, he doesn't believe this. Ange does it his way, and he will do it this way because he believes and he's seen that there's success that comes from it. The Europa League was special for Spurs. The Premier League was written off around January time, with injuries and a shocking league form. But they were still in the Europa League. We were still in the Europa League. We all believed. And Ange Postecoglou came out and said, not specifically, not literally, but he made it clear that his sole priority was the Europa League campaign. He went on to win it, and in May, Spurs made history beating United 1-0 in Bilbao. It was the best night of Spurs fans' lives for 18 years, the only thing I've seen my team win in my lifetime. Spurs finished 17th that season. Luckily, the 3 clubs that were relegated were so poor that year that Spurs weren't in a relegation battle. However, if those 3 clubs had been slightly better, there would have been genuine concern for Spurs' league form. It was a shocking year in the Premier League for Tottenham Hotspur. Around December was just a downward slump until May. But winning the Europa League showed that Ange promised, and he stuck to his word of always delivering in his second year. He was sacked weeks later, and it was a tough one to swallow. A very, very tough one to swallow for Spurs fans and myself. I believed in him. From day one, I knew that if he stuck to his guns, he trusted his gut, and he stayed playing this football, then success would come. He promised, and no one believed. He was mocked, he was ridiculed, he was forced into corners and into interviews. But he stuck to his word, and he stuck to his belief, and that is more important than anything for a manager. If you have a philosophy and you believe in it, then you will achieve things if you keep going. But even after all of this, they still questioned whether Season 3 at Spurs would be worth it. Is it going to be another sacrifice of the Premier League to go for the Champions League? Well, he was never given the opportunity to do that, and it's one that Spurs regret. Fast forward to now, and Spurs are in an even worse mess than they were last year. Currently sitting 16th in the Premier League. As of March, early March 2026, Spurs look lost. The hope is gone, and they are in a genuine relegation battle. So you could argue that Postecoglou had the last laugh, winning a trophy, making history, getting sacked. But then the managers who came in to replace him have handled the job even worse, with no philosophy. At Brisbane Roar, Postecoglou created a legacy, a 36-game unbeaten run. Again, defined by relentless press, relentless attacking, and a belief that he could achieve great things in Australia. And with the Australian national team, again, he created history and he won things. At the 2015 Asian Cup, it paid off. High pressing, fast transitions, fluid attacks. Australia just didn't win. They overwhelmed. They dominated. They sent a message globally. With Postecoglou, anything is achievable. They believed in him, and he believed in the players. And sometimes Postecoglou was a little bit naive. He was stubborn. There'll be times when, in that 4-1 game against Chelsea, he opted for a high line. With 9 men and a makeshift back 4, he stayed defending on the halfway line, which was slammed by pundits, which was slammed by fans online. He was mocked for this. And so yes, there was a bit of naivety to this. Even as Spurs fans, we did sort of argue, well, 2-1 down, with 9 men, you've got to sit back, you have to do it. But he didn't do that. But over time, he realised that Spurs did need to be more defensive, to see games out and get the crucial victories. Mickey Van de Ven and Christian Romero went to Postecoglou. They said to him, Gaffer, if we want to win these games, see out these crucial wins in the Europa League campaign, we have to take a more defensive approach with a slender 1-0 lead. And this he did. So from this moment on, up until the night in Bilbao, Kevin Danso was utilised. 70 minutes in, and Spurs were leading, an attacker would be salvaged for Kevin Danso. Archie Gray, Jed Spence, these 3 players were utilised so much more to come in, defend, see out the game, and again, like in Bilbao, all 3 of them came on to make history with Tottenham Hotspur. Compare him to Jose Bordalas, a coach built on discipline, defensive mindset, and a very low block. As we've seen, both approaches can win games. Both approaches can surprise a football world. Both approaches can create legacies, instill philosophies into clubs' histories that will last forever. But philosophically speaking, they could not be more different. So we've learned that Ange Postecoglou proved that his legacy could create success. Dominance does not have to mean caution. Dominance can be the opposite. Press with passion, be tenacious. And that shows us that as football fans, this is the style of play that some want to see, and it can create results, give legacies, and make history forever. And so there we have it. Expression, energy, tenacity. Ange Postecoglou has etched himself into football's legacy forever. Thank you.